Today here on All In with Brian Weatherford, we're going to have a guy in studio. Actually, he's already here, and I'm excited about it because I've done a lot of interviews, but I've never talked to anyone in this particular profession, let alone with the educational background that he has to get to where he is today. It's going to be a monumental day here on All In with Brian Weatherford. The name of the company is Tree Shepherds, Mr. Tree Shepherd. That's what I'm going to call you, Scott. Scott Geer, my guest. Scott, welcome to the show today. How are you?
I'm very good. Well, thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks.
You know, as I mentioned, I've interviewed a lot of people doing a lot of things, but I've never met someone who's in the tree business to the point that you are. So I want to back up just a little bit. Now you're little Texas background here, Stephen F. Austin University, beautiful East Texas.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do what you do, that's the place to go, isn't it?
It is. It's the best school. A&M thinks they have a school down there, but no,
maybe
Stephen
not
F.
doing
Austin's
the tree biz.
Superior to forestry
Well,
school.
you know, it's interesting too because it wasn't just good enough for you to get the 4-year degree. You kept going at it and got a master's as well. What's your master's in?
It's in forest entomology.
Okay.
So that was during a period when the southern pine beetle was kind of ravaging East Texas. So there was grant money and all that for graduate work.
So but we took care of the southern pine beetle, but there's still issues with trees.
What?
There's still issues out there to keep you in business.
Well, there are. And so, forestry is about caring for the forest. And what I do now is arboriculture, which is really more tree by tree, and it's generally urban forest. So we care for the trees within the city, on people's property that they where the trees are significant to them. Whereas in the forest they're significant, but it's for lumber or pulpwood or whatever.
A different purpose.
Yeah, and you're not looking at each individual tree.
Well, but when you're looking at the individual trees and looking at the nose today, we got a lot of issues here in the urban area with trees, in that they need a little assistance because there's a lot of stuff going on in their environment that's harmful to trees.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We expect a lot of the trees. You know, it's been said that man kicks nature out and then invites it back in on our terms, and we ask a lot of those trees to survive in the environment that we create for them. We scrape off all the topsoil. We dig a hole in some subsoil, plunk a tree in it, and expect it to survive. And sometimes they need a little help.
Well, even more so, people will get trees for landscaping purposes that aren't indigenous to this area.
That's right.
And it's not used to, the palm tree doesn't belong here, but by golly, I want a palm tree. Do you run into that too?
Yeah, for sure. And I guarantee at the end of this cold snap we're going to have, it's supposed to get down to around 15.
Yes.
There'll be some Mexican fan palms that will not make it.
No.
You know, it's just the way it is.
Well, you can drive by people's houses this week, probably even as we speak, there's people feverishly putting blankets around their treetops to try to make sure they're going to be here in a week. Is that going to work?
Maybe.
Yeah,
and it's a tall palm tree. You're not going to be able to do it. So
tell me about what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, we see customers and we see their trees, and trees are important to people. They shade us. That we live under them. We raise our children up underneath them. People really get attached to the tree as a significant part of their property, and so I meet with customers, talk to them about their trees. If there are problems with it, we diagnose what's going on, and then try to educate them on how to care for these trees. We're after the long-term care of the customer's trees, and so what I try to tell customers is that they're a steward of those trees while they own the property. Those trees are going to transcend them, hopefully. A post oak can live 300-400 years, or live oaks, and that's a lot of generations of people that can live and have their lives under and around those trees.
Do you ever run into situations, Scott, to where you can talk to people and to get them to listen, put a dollar value on it when you say, these trees at this house, you keep them up, and it does increase your property value.
Oh, it does.
Because I can't go in today and plant a 100-year-old tree in my backyard.
No, can't replace it. No, not in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And it does increase the value of the property. I'm not a real estate agent or appraiser, so I can't say how much. But you just drive up to any neighborhood, and the house that has trees, much more desirable, appealing.
Well, let's put it this way. Bring it on down to a homeowner status here. It's a lot cheaper for me to take care of the tree I have than to get you to kind of get rid of it and put a new one in.
For sure it is.
Is that fair enough?
Oh, fair enough.
So in addition to taking care of trees, do you actually plant trees? Do you do that as well?
plant a few.
Yeah.
It's really a whole different business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we refer most of our business out to some really trusted tree farms around. But we care from them from the time they're planted all the way through the end of life for the tree.
So is it strictly trees, or is it other types of vegetation as well?
Strictly trees.
All trees.
Yeah. I mean, we'll do some shrubs.
Yeah.
But it's mostly trees. Yeah. That's where we focus.
There are some trees, though, I know a little bit about this, not a lot, but a little bit. But there's some trees that we don't need these trees because they're not healthy for that tree. Is that right? Do some trees take nutrients from another tree?
Sometimes, yeah. If you think of your yard as a forest, it's dynamic, and so as trees come up, they're competing with each other. And there are some that will outcompete the others. And so in an urban environment, you may thin the herd or take out some that may cause troubles for the other trees down the road.
You're talking about thinning the herd. One thing that I thought of, a lot of time homeowners, the grass isn't growing because the tree's taking up all the sunshine, and they get out there and it's not real pretty.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the importance of bringing in a professional. If you're going to be taking care of this canopy, don't do it yourself.
That could be a long conversation in itself, but the trees and the grass are competing for sunlight. The function of the crown of a tree is to collect sunlight, and so it's competing with the grass. And so you've got to have grass that can grow in partial shade, like a San Augustine or zoysia. But also sometimes you say, we can't have grass in this place if we're going to keep the tree. But with proper pruning, it can be accommodated, and that's where there's a lot more to pruning a tree than just cutting on it.
I think you said it succinctly, but I'm going to back up. Proper pruning.
Yes.
It's not just some idiot with a chainsaw saying, I always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Because you're going to harm the tree.
You can.
You know, it's going back to what you said at the beginning of our interview. We're all stewards of the trees on our property. Be a good steward.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Be a good steward.
Yeah, well, that's good. I like that. I like that word, stewardship and steward. And when we come and prune a tree, every cut has a purpose. We're not just cleaning it up. Every cut has a purpose.
Well, and let's get to the other end of it too, from a safety aspect, not just from the tree, but just from the sheer person doing the work. I mean, there's a lot of safety precautions that professionals take that Mr. Guy on the weekend that's trying to get it over with so he can go play golf doesn't take. It's a big deal to do it properly, isn't it?
It's a very big deal. It's a dangerous work if it's not done right. But we want our guys and gals. We have some gals that are climbers, and we want them all to go home safe at night. That's really job one.
So, how did you grow up in a forest? I mean,
I grew up in the country.
Okay, so you understood. I mean, as a little kid, did you think trees are cool, and that's how I want to go this route?
You always maybe laugh, but I think my mom. She loved the outdoors, and so she kind of instilled in me that love for nature, and so that's where I headed.
Have you reached a point, as long as you've been doing this, to where you're a mentor? I mean, are there little kids today that are interested in trees that you can talk to?
Well, the trees are fascinating, and I still have much to learn. And so if they have an interest, there's a wide variety of things you can do related to the trees, all the way from being a forester to being an arborist like myself. Start off as a climber if you like climbing and doing somewhat kind of dangerous but very safe work. Oftentimes the guys will send me pictures from when they're up in a tree, and they say another day in the arborist, and they're up at the top of the tree, and they get so it's pretty cool. They really love to climb.
I would like to see the pictures, Scott, but quite frankly, I don't want to take the pictures.
Not going up there. Yeah.
This chair is quite fine with me, and I'm thankful for the tree that allowed me to have this chair.
For sure.
So we'll talk about that. Yeah. Well, it's just fascinating to me how someone can take something that is so cool as a tree, but make a lifetime profession out of it. You know, not just a tree, but trees in general. And you're there for the goodness of the trees, and the trees are there for the goodness of all of us. It's just a never-ending process. And as you mentioned, any tree that we see today is probably taken care of properly will be around a lot longer than we will. So treat them with respect.
Exactly.
Thanks for popping in today. It's just a fascinating life you've had and a great career. And keep doing what you're doing, because, like I said, I don't want to climb them, but I love to look at them.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Folks, thank you as well. Hope you enjoyed that. Hey, don't run off. We'll be right back here on All In.